former federal prisoner who served time at 11 institutions of various security levels in 5 different states, and he now advises people who are about to go to prison. Same information? Are they saying it's possible?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoot have an abbreviated list.
Say goodbye to the high life, because Diddy's world now revolves around 4 cold, unforgiving walls every single day.
It's terrible for anybody. But for someone who's used to having people wait on them hand and foot and never stands in line and always, gets front row and gets the best table and gets to have the exact opposite, what a life-changing moment.
Its life at MDC is a far cry from red carpets and private jets. This place isn't nicknamed Hell on Earth for nothing, known for its brutal conditions, cramped cells, and unforgiving atmosphere. MDC has broken even the toughest spirits. But here's where it gets intriguing. While ex-inmates would likely laugh at the idea of anyone getting special treatment, whispers are starting to spread that Diddy's time in lockup might not be as unbearable as you'd think, and just when you thought it couldn't get more. Jaw-dropping, an ex-prison guard has come forward with claims that'll make you do a double take.
1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible.
So what's really going on behind those bars? Is there more to this story that meets the eye? Buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into the rumors, and if there's any truth to them, things are about to take a shocking turn.
Mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy, or now inmate 37,452 D54, is living a nightmare at New York's Metropolitan Detention Center, or MDC, in Brooklyn, a facility notoriously dubbed Hell on Earth. Here, luxury is a distant memory. Instead, he's dealing with brutality, illegal substances, fueled chaos, life-threatening tension, and the harsh reality of shared showers. Not the kind of parties did he want through for someone who once lived in luxury, hosting exclusive white parties filled with celebrities, models, and unimaginable decadence. His fall from grace couldn't be starer. In case you missed it, the fall from grace for Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, began back in September 2024. When his world came crashing down, he was slapped with a series of serious charges, including racketeering and running what prosecutors called a criminal enterprise linked to numerous offenses against women. For a man who once ruled a billion-dollar empire built on music, fashion, vodka, and more, this marked the ultimate downfall. In his prime, Diddy was the definition of opulence. He rose to fame in the 90s, becoming a cultural icon and racking up a fortune that most could only dream of. His parties were legendary, lavish affairs where the rich and famous gathered to indulge in every excess imaginable. But now he's living a nightmare far from the red carpet. Word on the street is he's being kept in isolation for his own safety. But that's far from a smooth ride. He's completely cut off from the outside world with only limited contact through brief moments with his legal team or family. Imagine being locked in a box, left alone with nothing but your thoughts, fear, anger, regret. Who knows what else is running through his mind? In fact, his attorney has made it clear that MDC is much worse than just missing a few luxuries. This facility is notorious for its inhumane conditions. Inmates have long complained about moldy showers, freezing cold cells in the winter, and unbearable heat in the summer. It's like being stuck in a never-ending nightmare. Diddy may have been a superstar on the outside, but inside those walls none of that matters. He's just another inmate trying to survive in an environment where even the smallest things like fighting for a spot in line or a seat at mealtime can spark savagery. Former prisoners have shared their stories of living in constant fear, never knowing when the next fight or brutal brawl might break out. And for someone like Diddy, a high-profile target, the danger is even greater. Reliable sources confirm he's being held in the special housing unit, which means a 24-hour lockdown. Every move he makes is controlled and heavily monitored. No one leaves their cell without being strapped up. Leg irons, handcuffs, belly chains, and at least 2 or 3 guards. And if that wasn't enough, reports of corruption and misconduct from the guards are rampant. Word has it that some guards turn a blind eye to aggressive fights, smuggle and contraband, and even instant conflicts between inmates in this place. Survival isn't just about keeping your head down, it's about making alliances and playing the game. The public reaction to all of this, it's been divided. While many people thought Diddy would finally face some form of justice, others are genuinely concerned for his safety behind bars. Some argue that this is karma catching up to him, while others remind us that no matter what he's been accused of, Diddy is still facing some serious real-life dangers. According to former prisoners, Diddy's daily life inside the special housing unit is a far cry from the lavish lifestyle he once enjoyed. His wake-up call is at 6 a.m. sharp, and it's unlikely he's getting much rest before then. The SHU is eerily quiet at night, but every now and then a scream will break the silence, pulling Diddy from his restless sleep. It's hard to imagine how anyone could sleep comfortably on a 1 1/2-inch mattress without a pillow. This is a far cry from his former $40 million mansion, where he could wake up to soft sheets and expansive rooms in that house, one of his many luxurious estates. He enjoyed perks like a theater, a spa, a beauty salon, and even a pool connected to an underground water tunnel. But now in his cell, Diddy faces a world of stark contrast. His cell likely has no natural light, with only a harsh strip light above him. The bed, bolted to the floor, is made of iron, offering no comfort. Next to it is a tiny all-in-one ensuite with a sink and toilet. And that's about it. He spends 23 hours of his day here alone, with nothing but for concrete walls and the occasional visit from a cockroach, which he might even have named by now. Isolated in this harsh environment can lead to strange coping mechanisms, and naming a bug might be one way to stay sane when there's little else to connect with. Diddy's family is allowed to see him, and his lawyer visits regularly, but for the most part he's confined to this tiny, comfortable space. The routine is bleak, but it's necessary for survival. Each morning Diddy is expected to make his bed, mop the floor, and keep the toilet and sink clean. These small chores, while humiliating for someone who once had an army of household staff, at least provide some structure and a sense of purpose in an otherwise monotonous existence. Without these duties, it's easy to imagine how the hours could stretch on endlessly, driving him to madness. Breakfast arrives through a small hole in the door. There's no luxury to be had here. Forget caviar and gourmet meals. Instead, he gets powdered scrambled eggs, cheap white bread, milk, and sweet juice. This is one of 3 meals a day each, adding up to around 1,800 calories, which is a minimum requirement by law. However, one major downside is that the food rarely arrives hot. Diddy, who once dined at the finest restaurants where he could spend thousands on a single meal, now eats cold, unappetizing food. Even his former indulgence in fine dining has turned into a stark reality of jailhouse cuisine. Mystery meat and cold hot dogs made from muscle and senna. These meals are inexpensive, typically costing just $3 or $4 each, and they're often far from appealing. There have even been reports of maggots in the food, a nightmare for any inmate, especially someone who's used to eating at the world's most exclusive spots. But Diddy does have some advantages, one of them being his money. Despite the grim surroundings, he has access to the prison commissary, where he can purchase a variety of items: candy, coffee, tea, and even snacks to supplement his meager meals. He can also buy personal items like clothing and a radio, helping to ease the harsh isolation a little bit. However, this financial freedom is limited, and it might be hard to imagine for a man who was once known for wearing a $500,000 diamond-studded gold chain. He's now confined to a budget of $160 every 2 weeks. That might sound like a lot to most people, but for someone who was used to spending millions without a second thought, it's almost nothing. With this small amount, Diddy will likely have to make tough choices when it comes to what he buys from the commissary. He might indulge in candy, snacks, or coffee, but that's a far cry from the fine dining he's used to. In the quiet of his cell, Diddy may find solace in reading, but access to books is limited. The SHU doesn't offer the same luxuries of a full library, and even when books are available, they're mostly restricted to what's offered in the jail's True Links electronic law library, a system that provides legal resources for inmates. However, a recent inmate shared his dismal perspective on the resources at The MDC saying forget about your constitutional rights, human rights here are a problem. The sense of isolation and the lack of resources must be weighing on Diddy. Someone who's used to everything being at his fingertips when it comes to personal hygiene. Diddy gets a shower 3 times a week. Inmates have described the showers in the MDC as disgusting, often filled with mold. Diddy, who has likely experienced the finest spa, is now stuck in a situation where the conditions are far from ideal. The smell of a poorly ventilated room, the scent of UNF flushed fecal matter, and the general lack of cleanliness are probably very new to him. Plumbing problems have also been a major issue in the facility. In 1 month alone, 800 work orders were placed for repairs, including fixing broken pipes. It's a harsh reminder that even basic comforts are not guaranteed in the SHU. Now imagine what it would be like if Diddy were to be placed in the general population of the MDC. This facility has earned a reputation as hell on earth since its opening in 1994. In recent years, it's been notorious for brutality, with reports suggesting that inmates receive inadequate supervision and medical care. A former prisoner revealed that stabbings are frequent, with people getting stabbed at least a couple of times a week. These aren't just random attacks. Inmates are often armed with hamade knives that can be 6 to 9 in long, making the environment even more dangerous. In one tragic incident, an inmate was stabbed multiple times only to be given a 25-day lockdown as punishment, instead of receiving immediate medical care. Another inmate was fatally stabbed, a grim reminder of how savage the MDC can be. The situation is made worse by corruption within the system. 6 correctional officers have been fired in the last 5 years for bringing contraband into the prison, including phones, illegal substances, razors, and scalpel. According to some inmates, some correction officers are even gang members themselves, making the environment even more unpredictable. The level of brutality is so severe that judges have been reluctant to send prisoners to the MDC. However, due to the closure of the Metropolitan Correctional Center, which housed high-profile prisoners like Jeffrey Epstein, the MDC remains one of the only options for housing individuals like Diddy. If anything were to happen to him, the fallout would be significant, and heads would certainly roll. So is Diddy completely safe in his current situation? It's hard to say for certain. Recently it was reported that Diddy might have been moved from complete isolation into a dorm with another high-profile prisoner, former crypto king Sam Bankman-Fried. It is also known that Diddy's lawyers have called the conditions at the MDC horrific. They've even attempted to get Diddy released on bail with a $50 million bond, but the judge denied the request, meaning Diddy staying put for now. If Diddy is in fact in a dorm, life will be even more difficult. He'll face 24-hour paranoia, sleeping with one eye open, constantly on guard. It's a dorm meant for those requiring protective custody, but that doesn't mean it's free from danger. You might be living with inmates who, like him, are in for serious offenses, including S-related crimes, and considering Diddy's immense wealth, it's likely he'll have to pay someone significant money